will be down at about the 20-yard line. Apologies if audio is not going to our live stream. Should have that up and going. Of course, a bug makes our voice sound a little different. So if you want to hear our actual voices, tune into the and click on the live stream. Vikings offense back on the field after the stand by the defense. Hagelin will get off to Winston on the counter play for maybe a yard or two. I'd say other than maybe Wanakee, the Norskis have done this is viewing from early on in the game, have done the best job of stopping the Vikings' ground and pound attack.
Yeah, just like you said there, it's interesting is through these games this season, teams early stop the ground and pound, but eventually just wear away from that initial running from Winston.
Another what looked to be handoff to Winston, pushed out of bounds about a yard or two short of the first down mark. Thank you, Brad Richardson, for updating us on the status of our live stream. This one will be a handoff to Winston, and ball popped out, recovered by the Norskis. Costly turnover there. Did not see the fault on the play. Obviously, we talked about in the pregame, that wet ball can get a little slippery here, especially on the read option exchanges when you're not sure whether or not you're going to be keeping it yourself and Luke Hagelin. But nonetheless, Norski's great field position. Off for a gain of 1. Tackled by the defensive end senior, number 50, Cade Zerwanka. Still no score here. 2:10 remaining in the first quarter. Try to get our window cleaned off a little bit here so you can see the game a little bit better. Not sure how well that's working.
We'll see if we can try to take the window off if there's no rain. And
Schrader, play action. Eli Williams was in heavy pursuit. Schrader got away and will have what looks to be a first down. Could have been a big loss.
Wet field maybe made him lose his grip in the, I should say, lose his stance. Is that seems right? Lose his stance or
traction, I guess.
Yeah, traction in the ground or something like that.
Two receivers set out to Schrader's left. In the backfield is number 34, Armstrong. Handoff to Armstrong, tackled down by Dino. Will not have enough for the first down. Excuse me, that was Hackle. Norskies like to rotate those two running backs in Armstrong and Hackle, so I apologize to any Norski fans or anyone listening that values the importance of the. And about 5, lining up as if they'll go for it. Time for this Viking fan base to get a little loud, rattling the bleachers. Schrader dropping back, looking to pass. Heavy pass rush, steps up in the pocket. Got a receiver who will fall forward for the first down. Pocket collapsed on Schrader. Smart play to step up in the pocket, throw that one, and it will be a Norski first down.
Like you said, a smart play. They're also looking very like a veteran there, staying in the pocket, letting his lineman do the work and got it to his receiver down the field. That's got to be killer for the Vikings. That could have got them in decent field position, and now
read option play. He'll keep it himself. Another solid gain from the sophomore quarterback. 7-yard gain, and that will take us to the end of the first quarter. A scoreless first quarter. First time we've seen that. No score on either side. However, Norski's knocking on the door of punching one in. You've been listening to Wisco Radio. We'll be back with our second quarter action. Hopefully the rain holds off for the rest of this one. And we're back here in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin. Norski's forced a turnover on the Vikings' last drive, and that's set them up with good field position now inside the Vikings' 10-yard line at about the 7-yard line, where it is second and about 5. Norski's can still get a first down here, but if they did, it would be in this conditions, a field goal from anywhere is not for sure. Schrader, handoff up the middle, pushing the pile and into the end zone. Looked to be Evan Armstrong. A Norski touchdown puts them up 6-0.
A strong offensive drive there for the Norskis after the Mount Horeb the Mount Horeb turnover, I should say, and we'll see what the Mount Horeb offense can do to adjust here after being down.
Yeah, tough to pass the ball in on the run. Extra point attempt. The snap, the hold is up. I can't even see the ball. Official signal good. And the Norskis add to their lead. 7-0 here in the second quarter. 11:54 remaining. We'll step aside and hear a word from our sponsors. Second return touchdown on the season for Caden Lee. The track athlete showing his speed, and the Vikings an extra point away from tying this one.
Finally, one of those Caden Lee returns that actually counted this time the last couple.
Extra point from Perdisati. Up and good. Vikings just like that, tying it back up 7-7 with 11:42 remaining in the first half. You've been listening to Wisco Radio. Here's a quick word from our wonderful sponsors. Can't punch it in on offense there, the Vikings. Do it on special teams, Caden Lee says, and he'll take that one to the house. Perdisati, ball on his own 40-yard line, ball on the tee. Will kick this one away. Hopefully the video's a little clearer now. We've got one of the windows off. Still very, very foggy out. Cannot even see the DeForest fan section. Perdisati's kick will be fielded by the Norskis. Houseworth line, where Trey Schrader and company will take over.
And folks, we're going to try to keep you updated with the weather in case we have any weather delays here. And right now we're pretty lucky so far with not having any huge rain, so we'll look to keep this camera better for those watching the live stream. And we'll work from there.
Yeah, once again, apologies for the view and maybe a little bit of distortion in our voices, making them sound maybe a little bit slower and not line up with the video. Handoff there to Armstrong, nothing doing there. Maybe a gain of 2, second and 8 for the Norskis. I'll put them in a tough spot there. Norskis took over inside MHB's 30-yard line and able to punch it in. Schrader, receiver set out to his right, 2 tight ends. Will get the snap. Play action, firing on a slant pattern. Tackled by Lee is number 4, Jarrett Klein, but not after a gain of about 15. Ball spotted at the 47-yard line. First down for the Norskis.
And I don't really want to call that a lucky play, whether or not it was an athletic play by the DeForest receiver there, just picking up the first down there. So a little crusher for the Vikings, but we'll see if they can respond here.
10:51 remaining in the first half. 2 quick scores, both. Armstrong for a gain of 3 on the halfback dive. PA announcer announced number 40, Greg Fisher. I'm going to be completely honest, I can't pick out the number from here. Looked to be number 34, Armstrong. Split back formation. Read option. Schrader will keep it. It's got a little hole. Tackled by Zerwanka and Gassman. Maybe a yard shy of the first down marker. It will be spotted just short. 3rd and 1.
Now it's interesting to see what they'll do here, whether they're decent running the ball, and we have yet to see a downfield shot by this DeForest Norski's team. So we'll see what the Mount Horeb defense can dial up to maybe get a stop here.
Pistol formation. Schrader going with the hard count, trying to get this Vikings defensive line to jump off sides. We'll just give it off up the middle. That is, in fact, number 40, Greg Fisher.
Mount Horeb fans not exactly pleased with that
spot.
Yeah, but looks like they'll call it 4th down and short here. So
official timeout, going to get a measurement from the chain gang. At home this season, it's going to be really close. Wish I had the binoculars with me to see that. I think they'll be about a few inches short. So 4th and inches.
I apologize if the scoreboard isn't quite up to date. My phone isn't the best in technology, and neither am I. So I apologize about that, but I'll try my best here.
9:24 remaining in the first half. That helps you out a little bit, Will. I don't know. Here's get everything set there. I looked like a first down initially up there, so can't fault you for that. Nonetheless, 4th and inches. Ball spotted at the 43, and the gun is Schrader. Quarterback keeper, he'll have enough for the first down. Gain of 2. Vikings defense unable to contain the quarterback there.
And it's really difficult to stop a team when it's 1st or 4th and inches. So it is difficult, but maybe the Vikings can get this Norski's offense off and put theirs back on and see if they can get any rhythm back.
Schrader. Receivers set out to each side. We'll give it off to Hackle. Loss of yards there. TFL credited 2. And that just shows you last year, I believe, 2nd team all-conference edge player. And probably going to have that, and more than likely 1st team the way he's been playing out of his mind this season. Saw a lot of Gassman on the offensive side of the ball last season. He's been a main outside linebacker this season. Little speed option with Schrader, decides to keep it. And he's got 5 yards there. Almost seems like every time the quarterback keeper by the sophomore able to get at least 3 or 4, maybe 5 yards. And if you're Coach Kleppe, defensive-minded coach, you can't like that because 4 yards and 3 plays, that'll be a first down.
It's interesting to see what the Vikings can do there here. The past couple times they've been burnt here. 4 conversions in 3rd and long, so we'll see what Coach Kleppe dials up, whether it's a blitz or a man-on-man coverage.
3rd and 7 here. 2 receivers set out to Schrader's right. Sends Hackle in motion, looks for a little screen pass, and will fire the out route on the coverage. Steinhoff falls incomplete. 4th down. We'll see what head coach Mike Minnick decides to do here in MHB territory. 4th and 8. Probably maybe watch out for a fake here if I'm Coach Ryan Kleppe.
Yeah, this DeForest team, well, any team, when they're playing fake, so like you said, they need to stay home here, stay sound.
It is a fake. Court punter pass. He's got an open receiver. That's number 5, Houseworth. Boy, we sure called that. Vikings were not ready for that. Did not see who was in on the punt, but nonetheless a solid spiral there from the young man, and will pick up a Norski first down. Tough break for the Vikings.
And when you thought they could get their offense back on the field, DeForest, the DeForest Norskis are set up with decent field position, knocking on the red zone once again. So this is an important sequence for the Vikings, because if DeForest goes up 14-7, That's
for a slant pass. Will fire it. And he's got his receiver for the touchdown. Hook up from the sophomore, Schrader, to number 4, Jarrett Klein. And a Norski touchdown puts them up 13-7 pending the extra point. Good decision there by Coach Mike Minnick to fake the punt and get the first down, and now it results in a Norski touchdown.
And if you got to be a Mount Horeb fan, you're probably beating your head a little bit knowing that you could have had the ball potentially, but they could maybe they'll pull Caden Leo, get another return for a touchdown.
You've been listening to Wisco Radio. We'll be right back. Norski's up here, 14-7. And Vikings playing from behind, not something they've been used to, especially in the second quarter.
Absolutely, and we'll see what Coach Kleppe and the offensive coordinator dial up here because, just like you said, this is something they're not used to, being down 14-7. So I have faith that they can respond. They need to do it quick here, I would say.
Straight on kick from Girton. Lee will fake the revert. Oh, gave it to Fish, and ball pops out. Excuse me. Did give it off to the sophomore, Charlie Fish. Got popped, and a Norski recovery gives them good field position.
Now, that was a bad turnover, but out here, because if Mount Horeb gets down in a 21-7 hole, this is a completely different ball game, and they just need to step on the gas and keep it going here.
Norski's taking over in Mount Horeb territory once again. Official timeout. Discussing looks to be a penalty on DeForest, so back them up. Will actually start their drive on the 39-yard line. Might have had too many men on the field. Will now start 1st and 15. Vikings defense going to be not used to playing from behind. And this is a big conference matchup here on senior night against the division rival, the DeForest Norskis. Read option with Hackle, throws a shovel pass, does Schrader to his tight end. Look to be number 9, Beck Mayer. For a gain of 6. 2nd and 9. Be nice to force a turnover here if you're this MHB defense. Maybe Norski's pass, Travis Classy, can use some of his magic. Quarterback keeper, every time he runs that up the middle on the read option or fake reverse, he's able to get a solid gain. There is a yellow hanky on the field. DeForest backing up as if it's on them.
And this is interesting to see, like we talked about early in pregame, that it's going to be a little difficult to hold on to the ball. And a perfect example is that return team coughing it up, and Mount Horeb in a crucial defensive sequence here needs to stop the ball, needs to stop the Defo Norskis because their offense is on a roll right now.
So back the Norskis up on the holding call. Will stay there. Second and about 17. Two receivers, two Schrader's right. A tight end. Set off the line, hand off to Hackle up the middle. Looked to be originally stopped. Lowers his shoulder for a few more yards. Maybe a gain of 4. 3rd and 13. On the tackle, senior Eli Williams had that big pick 6 in the game against Baraboo a couple of weeks back. Mount Horeb Barneveld fan base to get loud as they start to do 3rd and 13. Schrader sends his receiver in motion, play action on the reverse, heavy pursuit, ball up in the air, man wide open. That's number 2, Bryce Duffy, who will march into the end zone for a 34-yard receiving touchdown. Vikings now down 20-7. Apologies if my head was in the way of the camera there, I'm not sure. Nonetheless, 20-7 pending the Norski extra point. Vikings going to need to get something cooking here before the end of the first half.
Yeah, and I'm sure Coach Kleppy at the sideline will give him a little motivation speech. All right, guys, this is your senior night. Come out and pull out from behind and
extra point up and good. Norskis, maybe a little bit of an underdog in this game now, coming out to a 21-7 lead with 5:27 remaining in the first half. You've been listening to Wisco Radio. Here's a short word from our sponsors. Welcome back to Mount Horeb, Wisconsin. MHB finds himself in an unfamiliar place, down 21-7 here in the second quarter after the Schrader to Duffy touchdown add to the Norski lead. Now would be another time for a big Caden Lee kickoff return touchdown. Ball on the tee, a low kick, bounces, fielded by Lee. Bobbled a little, will pick it up at his own 15-yard line with a burst of steam. He's got a hole again, slipping past some tacklers, and will be driven to the 25-yard line, which is where Hagelin and company will take over.
Like you said, this is a completely unfamiliar scenario for the Mount Horeb Vikings this season. And we'll see how they respond being down 21-7 because this is an interesting situation here. It's not time to panic because you're only down by 14. So if you put together and sustain a offensive drive that leads to any points at this point, that'll be a good for Mount Horeb's morale.
Ball officially spotted at the 28-yard line. Officials having to get their towels out to keep this ball dry. Tough job for center Zach Young. Shotgun, Hagelin, hand off to Winston up the middle, falling forward for a gain of 4. Broken that big one we were used to seeing him. Even in the Wanakee one, had a 25-yard plus touchdown.
And during most games, it's just a matter of time before Winston breaks that big one off.
They'll give it off to Winston again, falling forward for another gain and a Viking first down. Winston tied for 11th coming into this one for total rushing yards in the state of Wisconsin, looking to add to that total.
And that's something I think the Vikings should continue to do throughout the entire game. If things aren't going well for them, just hand it off to that amazing running back, Malik Winston.
Two receivers to Hagelin's right. We'll give it off to Winston again. Makes a few defenders miss and will be tripped up by number 30 after getting back to the line of scrimmage, number 9, senior. 2nd and 9.
Playing that hurry up game for the Vikings as usual.
Same set. Play action this time with Winston. Actually, read option with Hagelin. Gets a big block from Max Olinger. And Hagelin will get a few yards there. 4 minutes remaining in the first half. Be nice to punch it in here if you're a Viking fan. 3rd and about 6. Same set once again. 2 receivers to Hagelin's right, 1 to his left. Play action with Winston, this time looking to pass. Firing up the middle to a Caden Lee, who catches it in traffic at the 47-yard line of DeForest.
And right now, Coach Kleppe seems like he's trying to take as much time off of this clock, not letting this hot DeForest Norski offense get the ball back.
3:30 left here in the first half. Hagelin. Give it off to Winston with a head of steam. Tries to spin forward. Another solid gain. Winston getting about 4 or 5 yards every single carry. They'll call that one 4 yards. And the Vikings back in their no-huddle offense.
Yeah, and that's something we're used to seeing with Coach Kleppe football.
Winston set out to the left side, but not after another Viking first down.
And there was that downhill running that we see from Winston all season so far, and he's been playing the game that he's used to.
Apologies, they actually spotted him about a yard short of the first down, said the knee is down, looked like they extended the ball. Probably going back to him again for this first down. We'll give it off to Winston. Winston cuts it back outside, finds a hole, and will keep the legs a-turning across the 30. Tackled all the way across the DeForest Norski 25-yard line. 2:24.
And Winston getting up there a little gingerly, looking like he's jogging off the sideline. That's not something we want to see if you're a Vikings fan. So we'll see what they do here if they put backup running back. I can't see if
you got Kite Kelscher in at running back. Power back is Kelscher. In motion is Steinhoff. We'll give it off to Kelscher. He trucks a defender, and he'll get a big gain there, gain of 8. Vikings starting to put together a methodical drive here. But you mentioned hopefully the junior running back Winston's doing all right.
Whether or not it's cramps or anything, you never want to see a player go down if it's both teams. But
2 minutes here, handoff to Kelscher, that same set, and good to see the junior Winston back into the game. Good to mention, though, 2 solid runs from Kelscher put the Vikings in 2nd and short, and then when nothing was doing, able to get a yard on the play. We'll see if the Vikings decide to pass it here. They will hand it off to Winston, who falls forward for another first down. Now inside the 10-yard line, says PA announcer Dave Reed. 1:26, clock stopped, moving to chains. They'll now run it. Vikings quit the line, read option. Will give it off to Winston, and he'll get into the end zone through the hole. 10-yard rushing touchdown. Add to that rushing total, and Winston has now continued his streak of scoring a touchdown in every game this season. Vikings.
And that's something that the Vikings needed dearly. After giving up a touchdown to the Norskies after a turnover, they needed an offensive score there, and what a fantastic job and toughness by Winston getting into the end zone.
Extra point here from Pertasati, snap by Classy, hold Gassman. It's up and it's good. 14-21, the Vikings trail, 1:17 remaining in the first half. You've been listening to Wisco Radio. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Wisco Radio. Winston, 10-yard touchdown, his 20th total rushing touchdown on the season. And coming into this one, I believe was ranked 7th in total rushing touchdowns in the state of Wisconsin. Maybe add a few more and he'll be able to move up to top 5. Offense. Got to hold the Norskies out of the end zone for 1 minute and 14 seconds here. A sophomore will boot this one away. End over end kick. Wow, that one had the wind behind it. Touchback easily from the sophomore kicker. Rain starting to come down here. Everyone in the fans looks to have either a rain poncho or their umbrella out, so keeping dry. Hopefully that lightning and thunder will stay away. Schrader, 7. Handoff to Hackle. He's stood up by Fry and tackled down. MHB timeout. That's something we've seen a lot from Coach Ryan Kleppe this season. Time running down in the first half, and we'll call a timeout looking to get his offense back on the field. We'll take a timeout as well. You've been listening to Wisco Radio. Your score, Norskies 21, Vikings 14, 1:11 remaining in the first half. Welcome back to Wisco Radio. 1:11 remaining in the first half. Our market halftime report coming up next. Read option with Schrader. That's number 56, Eli Williams, stopping him immediately. Another timeout from Coach Ryan Kleppe. Another word from our sponsors. Welcome back to Wisco Radio. Possible 3 and out here could be forced by this Vikings defense. Crowd getting in this one, want their team to get the ball back and give offensive coordinator Chris Ballback the ball back. Handoff. Tackled immediately again, and a final third timeout from Coach Ryan Kleppe leaves his offense 1 minute and 3 seconds to try to put something together after the Norski punt.
And you kind of get a feel here that the, what do you call it? The momentum, yeah, has shifted in favor of the Vikings. So it'll be interesting to see if they can ride onto this into the halftime with the momentum, or if they can punch it into the end zone or get a field goal. Any points right now would be fantastic. And we know that Pertusati can kick a deep field goal. We just haven't seen him do that so far this year. So we'll see if Coach Kleppe finally puts his kicker up to the task.
Wind at his back, but of course the wet conditions make that a little bit. Who else would you want back there? Then the track athlete, the speedster, number 13, already took one to the house this game off a kickoff and had a safety punt return for a touchdown as well. A medium kick bounces at the 50-yard line and will take basically no bounce. Downed inside MHB territory at their own 46-yard line. Solid field position, definitely enough time to put together a drive.
And the Mount Horeb fans getting back into it. Well, why wouldn't they? Good shift in momentum in favor of the Vikings, and we'll see if they can come away with any. Maybe Defo was even better than we thought, and now the momentum is shifting in favor of the Vikings.
Hagelin, definitely a passing situation here. One receiver to his right, 3 set out end trips to his left. Play action with Winston's got Lee on a bubble screen. He's got some room to work with. I think the wet ball got to him a little bit there. Taking off the gloves. Suppose when you get that material wet, it makes it a lot more difficult to catch the ball.
And like what we said in the pregame earlier, it's going to be difficult for these receivers to catch a ball with this wet condition, and the rain's coming down pretty hard right now.
48 seconds here in the first half. Hagelin throws a pass nearly broken up by Klein.
And right now, this is an important part just to not, I don't want to say play conservative here, but you don't want to give up a pick, maybe a pick 6 like that when you're in potential scoring position. So we'll see what they do here.
Rain coming down harder than ever. The band nowhere to be seen for their halftime show. We'll have to save that for another date. Hagelin scrambling, plenty of time, firing for Classy. Classy looked to be hit by the Norski defender before the pass was there. I think they're going to rule it an uncatchable pass for Classy. And the Vikings will have to punt. So Field not able to do anything there.
But I like the play call there. I mean, a little conservative. Take a shot down the field, but you don't want to give the ball up there. So I like a good play call.
Pertusati standing at his own 32-yard line looking to punt. Definitely want a clean snap, low snap. Great job by the young punter. Ball will bounce at the 25-yard line, take a big Mount Horeb roll, and be downed at the 11-yard line by Jack Fry. 25 seconds in the first half. It's been a long 1 minute and 2 seconds here.
Yeah, absolutely it has. And it's really interesting. When I personally thought that maybe, I'm sure people were thinking they could, and look, well, we got a ball game tonight, and it'll be a fun one in the second half.
Actually, that punt was negated by a flag on the Vikings. Coach Mike Minnick electing for the Vikings to re-punt instead of having it tacked on to the end of the kickoff, or excuse me, the end of the punt. Maybe with these wet conditions, he thinks Vikings will mishandle the ball. DeForest lining up as if they'll send 7 guys to block this one. Low snap again. Great job fielding it by Pertisati. And another line drive kick. This one will roll all the way into the end zone.
Good effort by Jack Fry, though.
Took a few more seconds off the clock. Now only 18 seconds remaining.
Yes, it is. And the second half is looking pretty rosy here for the Vikings, getting the momentum back in their favor. So we'll see what happens here.
If you're watching on our Wisco Radio live stream, you can see the rain starting to come down a little bit harder now. Of course, we're dry and warm and toasty up in the booth. As we hear sirens in the background, hopefully everything's all right.
Yeah, I would hate for there to be a fire in this rain.
Norski's taking over at their 20-yard line. I'm guessing a conservative play call. Classy playing deep safety here. Handoff up the middle. And that should take us to 21. Mount Horeb Barneveld Vikings 14. Coming up next, we'll have our market halftime report brought to you by Mount Horeb's Custom Apparel Shop, along with some keys to the second half and some inside stats from the first half. I think we'll send it to our halftime break, Will, and come back with some more interesting things on our views from the game.
Absolutely.
You've been listening to Wisco Radio. Kate Johnson, Will Harrelson. We'll be right back. Wisco Radio, your market halftime report brought to you by Mount Horeb's custom apparel shop. Some scores from around the area, especially in the conference. Beaver Dam leading Sauk Prairie 21-0. That was last updated at the quarter. Actually, halftime score is 24-0. Of course, DeForest leading Mount Horeb 21-14. That one's here, brought to you by us. Milton leading Fort Atkinson 16-14. That game's at halftime. A Big 8 matchup between Parker and Memorial. Janesville Parker leading Madison Memorial 12-10. One I thought it was a little bit interesting is Portage and Reedsburg are tied 0-0 at halftime. That one's definitely being affected by the weather. The Baraboo Thunderbirds, Oregon leading Watertown 21-0. That game's in the second quarter. And another Big 8 score, Sun Prairie 7, Verona 3. Other than that, not too much going on this Friday night. As we mentioned, this would have to be my game of the week in terms of Badger Conference matchups. The two second seed or second place teams in the Badger North Conference matching up, and it's been everything we've expected here in the first half. Norskies maybe a little bit of the underdog, contrary to what we've seen in the past coming to this one. Lost to Oregon well. But nonetheless, Norski's up 21-14. Hopefully we'll get some halftime stats for everyone. Will, it's been a action-packed first half, to say the least. We had that special teams touchdown, and we've had a few turnovers forced by this Norski's defense, and that's made it a close game.
I would say right now both teams have played pretty solid. The Norskies getting off to a solid, fast start after a scoreless first quarter. I thought, like I said before, personally, that maybe the Norskies could run away with it, but Mount Horeb came back and gave them a game again. So we'll see what they can drink.
Yeah, we'll give you a break. Dan, you want to hop on the mic, or Carter, you interested in talking about maybe your thoughts from the first half? We'll get our video man for the night, Carter Kuhn. You've heard him a few times this season. Always does a great job when he's on the microphone. Carter, you've had a little bit of a different perspective running the camera and maybe not able to see the game quite as well, but your overall take of the first half?
Sure. Well, it's certainly been foggy. You've mentioned a couple times it's very hard to see the numbers, but I feel like both teams have been very good on both sides of the ball. In fact, even on special teams as well, with the touchdown by Caden Lee in the second quarter. Excuse me. But really, both of these teams have been they've been more error by the Vikings, I would say, than forced by the Thunderbirds. But we saw that one excuse me, you were just mentioning Baraboo a little bit ago. The Norskies, thank you. But, yeah, I mean, this has been a great contest. It pretty much is every single year. Personally, this is definitely one of my favorite matchups that I've seen growing up from, I've been coming to Mount Horeb football games, for about as long as I can remember. So this is definitely one that I look forward to every year. And being senior night and that I'm a senior, it's very nice to see some of my fellow classmates get out there and give it their all. And a lot of them have been playing some really great football.
Yeah, Carter Kuhn, the lone senior, last home game. The night after, Carter Kuhn had a big night and won Homecoming King, representing Wisco Radio in the best way possible and taking home that crown, I guess.
Yeah, I don't like to talk about that too much personally, but thanks for bringing it up, Kate. Yeah, it was definitely interesting. But personally, I mean, I had a lot of friends that said, I voted for you and stuff like that. But I would say the strangest part of the entire process was it was probably about 15 minutes after after they had announced that I'd won, and I was getting some pictures with my parents, and there was this woman that came up to us and took pictures of it. The first one was just regular, hands. Parents bow to me from either side. My mom on one side, my dad on the other. So that was definitely a different experience, really, than I've ever had. Me being me, definitely made it awkward here or there. But yeah, a very fun night and very nice experience.
Yeah, homecoming always a fun week overall, and what a better way to, I guess start your senior year with taking home the crown of homecoming king. I think with that we'll step aside and hear another word from our sponsors and talk about our keys to the second half, what the Vikings are going to have to do in order to first of all tie this game up and then take the lead. Other than that, we'll be right back. Welcome back to your market halftime report. Now I'm joined by Will, who caught his breath after doing some jumping jacks with the – no, I'm just kidding. Will, what do you think will be the keys to the second half for this MHB Viking team?
I say a key to this half for the Vikings is Luke Hagelin and his ability to throw the football down the field, because as of right now, the rain has really been a factor, and the Vikings haven't been able to complete a pass. It's really that would be my key, and another key would be the play of the Mount Horeb Vikings defense. That is also going to be very important here. You saw at the end that they had a chance to put some more points on the board. Unfortunately, they couldn't do that. But we'll see how they react during the second half with a lot closer game than what was predicted.
Yeah, both teams now taking the field. Lightning and Thunder has held off. We just got word that both teams would have to agree on whatever transpired in terms of whether or not they want to just call the game. Of course, Mount Horeb or whoever is down at the point when something happens, assuming that will happen. This is all just what ifs. If there's 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, no point in having a team travel, DeForest about 45-plus minutes here, or whether or not they'd wait it out. And as I mentioned, you can make it up tomorrow. We talked about in the pregame it would have to be early tomorrow. And Will said it's pretty much supposed to rain all through the night and into tomorrow. So, hopefully we're able to get 2 more quarters of football in, 1 more half, and hopefully the Vikings come out on top.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how well the Norskis played offensively to start the second quarter, and we'll see if they play with that same intensity, because they're going to receive the ball to start the second half the Vikings defense can do to potentially stop this red-hot Norskis offense.
And that we will. Vikings huddling up. Didn't add time back on the clock here for this halftime. Want to get things moving as quick as possible. Teams had a chance to dry off in their respective areas. And I believe the Norskis will be receiving the second half kickoff. I don't know.
I believe that they will be. And I can see why they want to not put some time on the board, because we have a lot of rain coming in. We looked at the radar here during halftime when we were at break, and it are saying, hey, let's get this game over and get back home safely. So
rain seemed to slow down for the most part now, but the wind has definitely picked up. Looks to be blowing in favor of the Vikings here on this kickoff. From our right to our left.
Vikings will kick off to start the second half.
Pertisati, that will give a chance for him to add to his touchback total on the season. Getting ready to start off this second half. I'm expecting it to be as exciting as the first half.
What a game so far. It's just, you love this kind of environment in early October.
Besides the Wanakee, which ball, kick bounces over the head of the Norski returner, number 4, Klein. He had a touchdown reception earlier in this one. My program's getting a little bit wet here, Will. We got the windows open now. Norskis will take over at their own 20-yard line. Vikings defense coming up with a stand there to end the second quarter, and nonetheless, even though they didn't score, maybe that gives them some momentum going in to their next defensive drive. Handoff, actually read option, triple option. We'll give it off to Hackle. Vikings all over that. That looked like perfectly played by the Vikings defense. Had all aspects of it snuffed out. Schrader faked the handoff to Fisher, ended up tossing it to Hackle, who will be brought down after a loss of 1, 2nd and 11.
I like that you bring reference back to the old Chip Kelly Oregon, because that's exactly what it was. And the Vikings did a great job, just like you said, sniffing that out.
In motion is Klein. Another speed option. Vikings all over that again. Schrader, nothing doing there for the sophomore QB. Linebackers Scott Hall and Eli Williams all over that one. Scott Hall, always a force to be reckoned with. Huddling, a little bit different than what we're used to seeing from this Vikings hurry-up spread offense. Norskies do run the spread at a little bit slower pace. They will have a heavy formation, however, this time. 2 tight ends, Klein in motion, play action, heavy pressure from Williams, and broken up, incomplete, no flags. 3 and out. Great stand to start the second half by the Vikings defense.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what they needed to start the second half. A great stop there, and they give their ball back to their offense, which right now is getting back to what they're used to, getting the ball downfield.
Midfield will back up to his own 45-yard line to return the punt. Gassman almost got a piece of that one. Will bounce short of Lee and take a backwards bounce. Vikings will start, and Norski on the Norski side of the field. Good field position by his offensive line. Ball spotted at the 40-yard line. 3rd and about 4.
And this is interesting. This is interesting here because you never know. Maybe they're going to throw it. And like I said, a key to the game is going to be Luke Hagelin throwing and running the ball.
9:30 remaining. Winston's got a big hole, makes a few defenders miss, gets a guy off him. That was number 30. Had to hang on for dear life to Winston's jersey. The 5'10", 195-pound junior showing off his strength.
And it seems like this will be a run-heavy possession for the Vikings.
We'll give it back to Winston. Met early in the backfield. Does a great job of falling forward on those runs up the middle, making sure to at least get past the line of scrimmage. They'll call it a gain of 3. Add to Winston's rushing total. Be nice to add to his touchdown total and tie this one up.
And it'll be interesting to see our offensive coordinator, Ballback, will do a play-action pass.
Give it to Winston again. Makes the defender miss. Almost looked to be brought down field. And the Vikings, another 3rd and 5. Ran it with Winston last time, maybe run it again. Something we haven't seen this much this year. We saw it a lot last year. Is the wheel route. This will be given off to Winston. He'll bounce it outside. He's got a hole, but not enough for the first down. Certainly 4-down territory here.
It is 4th down territory, but you have that strong leg in Chris Pertusati. So do you want to take a chance and go for 7 or 6 to tie this ball game, or do you want to play safe and take the 3?
Would be about a 31-yard field goal attempt. These conditions. Down here, we'll give it off to Winston. Hand off up the middle. Will he have enough? Good spot. And a Vikings first down.
Big first down there. Huge. Keeping this drive alive, taking more time off that clock, and hopefully the Vikings will put it into the end zone.
Now inside the 10-yard line are the Vikings offense. Scott Hall in at tight end position. Lead blocker for Winston, who will get the ball once again up the middle on the halfback dive. Maybe a yard or two. Winston's one of those running backs, you just really never see him lose a yard on a carry.
He reminds me of the old Marshawn Lynch, always fighting for that extra yardage. I feel like Luke Hagelin would have a ton of time.
Play action, actually read option with Hagelin. Hagelin's got a seam, looks to bounce it outside. Will pick up 5.
Luke Hagelin, ball carrier.
3rd and goal. Big 3rd down here. I'm assuming he went for it on his own 15, or excuse me, Norski 15 did Kleppe. Hand off to another read option, and Hagelin into the end zone. Touchdown, Vikings.
Just a fantastic play call there by the offensive coordinator. The DeForest Norski's defense have been trying to stop Winston all night, and
important extra point attempt here. 20-21 is your score. Vikings down 1 pending the extra point. 7:16 remaining in the 3rd quarter. A little bit of pressure on the sophomore kicker. Hold by Gassman. Perfect kick from Perdisati. And we've got a tie ball game, folks. 21-21 is your score. 3rd quarter here in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin. You've been listening to Wisco Radio. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We've got a tie ball game and a good game on our hands. Vikings and Norski's getting excited in this one. Mount Horeb student section sporting their pink, supporting breast cancer and all cancer awareness. Always a good cause.
absolutely, it's always a good cause, and it's amazing to think at how strong men and women out there have defeated this disease, and it's great to show that our community can come together and support an amazing cause like you just said.
Isaiah Matthews to hold his kickoff. Ball was not staying on the tee, so Matthews will have to hold it for him. Excuse me, that was Tyler Krubaugh. Nonetheless, a touchback kick from Perdisati. He's really showing off the leg here. Made some key extra points. And who else would you rather have on the field than this Vikings defense?
Yeah. Who else would you want? Like, exactly what you said. They're bottling up this DeForest offense and just not allowing a single yard so far.
Schrader in the gun. Will give it off the middle. Nothing as the rain starts to come down. Official timeout. Injury for the Norski. We'll take a timeout. Hopefully he's all right. Seems to be a trainer down with him. You've been listening to Wisco Radio. 21-21, 7:05 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Welcome back to Wisco Radio. Injured player number 21, Bryson Gurton, walked off the field with a little assistance of his fellow teammates. Norskies will hand the ball off for a solid gain, tackled by Dino, and it'll bring up 3rd and about 7.
And it's interesting to see right now the Vikings tonight have been gashed for a couple first downs by the Norskies offense, but recently they've been playing much better with higher intensity, so we'll see what they do here.
Schrader in the gun. 2 receivers set out to his left. Running back in motion. Nothing doing. Decides to keep it cold. And shoved out of bounds by, I believe that's Tyler Krubaugh playing a little bit of defense here. Made the stop. That was Duffy on the reception. 4th down. Norski punt team coming on. Ball spotted at the 25-yard line. 4th and short. I don't think I'd expect a fake here if you're DeForest. It is a punt, a high one. Wind just killed that. Watch out, Vikings. And down by the Norskies. That could have been dangerous. Came close to hitting Tyler Dino. The wind just knocked that one down. Almost a look to push it back the other way.
And if you heard me talking to anybody, folks, I apologize. It was my fantastic grandfather who wanted to see the operation we have up here. But, I mean, I don't blame him. We're pretty cool. And we'll see.
At least we think so.
Oh, at least, yeah, exactly. At least we think so. But we'll see what the Vikings can do here with first down.
Hagelin, receiver set out to each side. Give it off to his junior running back, Winston. Winston pushing a few defenders over. He'll fall forward for a gain of 9. Keeping the legs turning was Winston, shedding off a few tacklers. 2nd and 1. Vikings quick to the line. Ball just past midfield. Give it off to Winston again.
Yeah, and we see right now, I don't know if it's whether or not if it's a confidence thing, but Luke Hagelin is not throwing the ball, or if it's just a play call. I mean, it could just be that, but the running has been working well, and why not keep doing it? So that also could be a factor. So,
and of course the weather. You mentioned
absolutely
slippery ball, tough to throw. Read option. We'll give it off to Winston on the read. Winston looked to be tackled initially behind the line of scrimmage. But he says, no, I'm not losing yards, and falls forward for a gain of 4, maybe 5. Runs like that just show you the will.
Shows you why colleges are looking at this fantastic back we have here.
Just shows you the will of Winston to fight. Hagelin, this time in the pistol. In motion goes Lee. Fake the handoff to Lee on the reverse. Give it off to Winston on the dive. He'll get a couple of yards.
No, that's just a muscle play there. And that's what the Vikings will keep doing throughout the entirety of this drive, is just give it back to their stud running back and let him make the plays.
3rd and short, definitely expecting to run here, if I do say so myself. It is a run with Winston. He'll easily have enough for the first down across the 35 at about the 33-yard line. Another Viking first down.
And you see this running attack kind of tiring out this offensive coordinator. Ballback will do a play-action pass here to confuse the defense.
Lee in motion again. This time they will get off to Caden Lee on the reverse. He's got a few blocks. Gets a couple of yards. 2nd down and medium. 3:54 and ticking left in the 3rd quarter. Would be nice to come away with some points here on this drive. if you're a Vikings fan. Hagelin will give it off to Winston up the middle. Winston, actually quarterback keeper, wow, fooled me and a majority of the defense. Winston did a great job of selling that one. Hagelin just took off with it. And now inside the red zone is Mount Horeb at the 18-yard line of DeForest, knocking on the door of taking the lead. Another read option. Hagelin keeps it again. Spin move, falls forward, gain of 6. And keeps the legs a-turning, does Hagelin.
And that last bit you just said, keeps the legs turning. We've seen that from every runner today, whether or not it was the QB run there or a running back or a wide receiver. They just keep their legs turning, and that's one significant thing that Mount Horeb football always has.
Winston up the middle, falls forward, gets a little push from his offensive line there. They've done a fantastic job. And whoever receiver is on the reverse. Vikings now at 1st and goal on the Norski 6-yard line. Winston behind Hagelin in the pistol. Read option. Winston lowers his shoulder and will await the call.
Looks to be 2nd and goal here.
2nd and inches. Winston's family wanted the touchdown call on that one. They'll give it back to him, and this time will push over to DeForest fenders for a Vikings touchdown. Now the Vikings lead 27-21, but nonetheless a very, very good drive from this Vikings offense, capped off by the 1-yard rushing touchdown from Winston, his 2nd on the night.
And a fantastic drive that was, giving the Vikings their first lead of the night.
Snap, hold, up and through. Vikings up 7. You mentioned their first lead of the game, and what a better time, no better time to have it than 2:31 remaining in the 3rd quarter. We'll step aside, and after the break, we'll have the Perdisati kickoff. Perdisati will not put the ball in the tee on the hold. Wide receiver, and who we saw going a little bit at defensive back, made a great play forcing the Norski punt, was Tyler Kruba.
We're going to try to keep you posted here with the weather, like I've been saying throughout the entire thunderstorms at around 10 o'clock p.m.
That should, I suppose if you're going to get them at any time after the game, would be better.
That would be preferable, yes.
Vikings now up, so if they were to call the game, but we won't talk about that. Perdisati with the wind at his back. This one will be fielded by Hackle at his own 5-yard line. Makes a few jukes, actually finds a hole on the outside. All that's left is Kruba and Perdisati, and we'll take this one almost to midfield. Good thing Kruba was holding the kickoff, or it would have just been the kicker and Hackle. Of course, Perdisati, a talented player in his own self. Great running back. Schrader and company start out with solid field position. Wind and rain. Little toss play to Hackle. Tripped up. Great tackle by the safety. Guess who? Jack Fry.
And we can't talk enough about Jack Fry. His transition from JV to varsity, a varsity star, I should say, this year has been absolutely amazing.
5'9", 160. Plays like he's 6'2". No, just kidding. 6 foot, we'll say, and 180, 190. Great tackle from the senior. Been a key part of this Vikings. Gets the call from the sideline. 2 receivers set out to his left and a tight end on his left. Rolling out, looking to pass. Got a receiver open on the slant pass. Wind might have killed that one a little bit. And that will be complete. Hanging on for dear life was Miles Steinhoff, who will bring him down, but not after a big gain of about 40-plus yards to the 10-yard line.
And
that just kills the momentum.
Yeah, it absolutely does, and it, in a way, shifts it in a way back to DeForest. But we got to see if Mount Horeb can hold them to only a field goal here. In a way that would come away with a win, just holding them to a field goal.
1:20
ideally.
in the third quarter. Schrader, read option play, looking to bounce it outside. Williams. We've called their names quite a bit tonight. Now would be a perfect time for a Travis Classy interception.
Absolutely. I mean, it would be a perfect time for an anybody interception, but absolutely we'll take the all-state secondary, oh my gosh, I can't even say the word right now, for safety, Travis Classy.
Schrader. 2 tight ends set, receivers set out to each side. Halfback, the lone setback. Fisher, who will get the carry and stuffed after maybe a gain of 2. Norskies have the ball at about the 10-yard line for one more play. And looks like they'll just take it to the end of the quarter. And with that, an action-packed third quarter, an action-packed game. And what else will happen than an action-packed fourth quarter coming up? Stay tuned to Wisco Radio for the conclusion of this one. And hopefully your Mount Horeb Barneveld Vikings can come out on top. I'm Kay Johnson alongside Will Haraldson. Here's a word from our sponsors. Stay tuned for the fourth quarter.
And we're back here in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin here. The DeForest Norskies knocking on the goal line here, Cade, and you got to assume that the Vikings would be really happy here with a defensive stand here.
Yeah, probably going to be guessing run here, third and we'll call 6. Norskies can still get a first down marker at about the 3 option. He's got a little bit of a seam and gets into the end zone. Norski touchdown. That one hurts a little bit.
Just a little bit, but
easy to bounce back from.
Easy.
Only a tie game, or pending the extra point. Down 1 right now is DeForest. But, you know, your offense comes out, puts together a methodical drive. Norski's get a good return, puts the ball at about midfield, and from there, able to punch it in.
But like you said, right now the Mount Horeb offense has been absolutely amazing so far, and we'll see if they can keep that up in the second drive. But like you said, a killer giving up that touchdown right away, and we have a close game here, folks.
Extra point is, this one is tied once again, 28-28, 11:54 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Only 6 seconds gone by, and we got an action-packed fourth quarter here.
We'll see if Charlie Fish or Caden Lee, or maybe Travis Classy will be back to return. Actually, we'll see. We know Caden Lee will be back there, but we'll see who's back to return
with him.
And hopefully whoever it is can take it, if not past midfield, to the house.
Absolutely. I mean, ideally, that I would like for that to happen on every play, but that doesn't always happen, and you never know.
Turn to kick this season, I believe it was it was a home game. Winston was back as the lone return man when the hands team was up to field the onside kick. But nonetheless, there's a guy, he gets a little bit ahead of steam. I would not want to try tackling him in the open field, that's for sure.
I feel like that's kind of the reason that Coach Kleppe may have him back there. Watch the surprise onside kick.
Kick, a line drive fielded by Lee. Fakes, will fake it to Winston. Great work from our video man, Carter Kuhn was all over that one. They fooled me, but he was not fooled. Nonetheless, nothing doing on the return. More yards, that is. And the Vikings will set up shop at their own 22-yard line.
And I'm excited to see here if it's going to be a run-heavy drive here for the Vikings, or whether or not they take a chance and throw it downfield for once tonight. And I have faith that they can, but if something's not broke, like what the running game right now is, why try and fix it? So keep going, I say.
Handoff to Winston, nothing doing there. Of course, Winston never loses any yards. He'll actually gain 2. Vikings getting the play call from the sideline. Norskies have no deep safeties. Maybe at Hall if they're able to find a seam in this secondary.
Absolutely, look for the play action pass.
Snap, read option, gives it off to Winston, who will fall forward for a gain of 1. 3rd and 7. Big third down here for Coach Ryan Kleppe and crew.
And right now you have to be very careful, as it looks to be Malik Winston down, and that is not a good sign for if you're a Mount Horeb Viking fan. But right now, I would say you need to play conservative here, not allowing something bad to happen.
Winston coming off the field under his own power. Kai Kelscher taking his spot. The trainer, Sherry, went out to go check on him, and he ran. Friends doing all right down there. Hagelin, this time alongside him is the senior Kelscher. Play action, looking for Lee, rolls out to his right under heavy pressure. Will throw it up to Gassman, who catches it. That could have been a dangerous pass. Gassman maybe gained a yard, 4th down. Solid stand there from the Norski defense.
And that's something I don't imagine that the offensive coordinator, Bolback, imagined that play to be. Like I said earlier in the game, you never, ever want to throw on your back foot or on the run like that unless you're Aaron Rodgers, who can make that play. But not many high school quarterbacks can do that. Not saying that Luke Hagelin isn't athletic enough.
Punt from Perdisati. Bounce across the 40-yard line into DeForest's 37-yard line. We're going to try to take a quick break before the Norskies get on the field. You've been listening to Wisco Radio. to number 26. Excuse me, that was a keeper by Schrader. Picked up solid gain of 8 yards. Second and 2. Ball at their own 45-yard line. 2 receivers set out to Schrader's right. Running back in the backfield in motion is Hackle. We'll give it off up the middle. Little head of steam there for the halfback. I believe that was Fisher. Tough to see those numbers on the far side of the field. Nonetheless, and Norski first down.
Back to their dangerous thing in what they've been doing in the second quarter when they put up points, and they just put up points in a hurry here, so we're going to have to be careful.
Cross midfield now in MHB territory. Speed option for Schrader, keeps it himself. Ball was out. We'll await the call. Vikings signaling their ball. Norski signaling their ball. And no signal. It will be DeForest ball. Vikings almost came up with a huge forced turnover there.
Would have been a huge momentum shifter.
Smart play by the DeForest lineman. Jumping up. Schrader will get the snap. High snap, and he'll just fall on it. That's what the slippery ball will do to you. Just squirted out of the hands of Schrader. Backing them up. 3rd and what we'll call 17.
Good job by the Mount Horeb defense after giving up that first down, clamping down, using their strength, and trying to get a punt here to give it back to their offense.
Intelligent play by the sophomore quarterback Schrader, falling on the ball, not trying to scoop it up and run with it. Looked to be Gassman in heavy pursuit if Schrader went out to fell on it. In motion, play action, heavy pass rush from the Vikings. Preddy almost Schrader to Duffy, not enough for the first down. Could be 4-down territory. This is a interesting decision here for Coach Mike Minnick. Will, what do you think is going to
interesting
transpire
decision here? Yeah, I should let you finish your sentence here, but earlier in the game we saw a fake punt that worked out in their favor here, so don't be shocked if they try that again. So I say Mount Horeb defense needs to stay home here and not take their eyes off of the ball.
Bryce Duffy, the punter, I believe he was the one who completed the pass last time. This time it is a punt. Line drive. This one might bounce into the end zone. That it will. Touchback. And Vikings will take over on their own 20-yard line. Score 28-28. 6:56 remaining. Finish.
Like you said, we should be set for a fantastic finish here. 2 evenly matched teams in every aspect of it. And this has been a very entertaining football game to be calling.
Winston not in the game. It is Kai Kelscher. Hagelin looking to pass on the first play of the drive. Heavy pressure. Threw it away. Vikings coaches wanted a flag. Caden Lee being held. Running his route. As I mentioned, Malik Winston getting checked out by
There we go.
Trainer Cherry. And they call intentional grounding on,
Mount Horeb fans not happy with that, obviously. I didn't see the penalty, but I trust that if Cade saw it, then it happened. But
I'll keep my mouth shut up here in terms of anything I want to say. I know my former colleague Bryce Hopwood might have had a few words always A man of great character, Bryce Hopwood, if you're listening.
After the penalty, the ball spotted
Miss you and hope everything's going good in Texas.
at the 4-yard line.
In the gun, Hagelin. Alongside him, I mentioned Kai Kelscher replacing Winston.
Need to be very conservative.
Play
here.
action. Passing is Hagelin almost intercepted. Defender on that ball. Vikings picking up a few yards, now in a third.
Brought down at the 9-yard line.
And Black Earth.
Brings up 3rd and 21.
Hagelin getting the play call. Kelscher to his left, 2 receivers to his right.
Be very conservative here. You don't want a big mistake happening.
Steinhoff to his left. He'll throw it to Steinhoff out to his left. Steinhoff's got some room, lowers his shoulder, and we'll get back to the original line of scrimmage. Solid gain there.
Brought down at the 40-yard line. Brings up 4th and 10.
6:04 left in this one. Tie game. Pertisati backed up at his own 5-yard line to punt this one away.
A big punt here. If he gets it deep in their territory, that's good for the Vikings defense.
Or you hope for a miscue from the Norskis. No, not much of a rush. A very short punt. Almost hit it of Norski. That's uncharacteristic from Pertisati. Norskis will take over inside MHB territory. A punt of only 22 yards. Vikings defense going to have to come up with a stand here. 5:54 tie game.
Yes.
A senior-heavy defense is the Mount Horeb defense. 6 returning starters from last season. All our seniors this season that are returning. Believe 9 total seniors on this defense. Handoff up the middle.
Going nowhere.
To Fisher, as Will said, nothing doing. Loss of 1, 2nd and 11. This is where the team defense especially feeds off of the energy of head coach Ryan Kleppe. Always a positive guy, encouraging his team. This is sticking out through the rain, needs to get loud. 2 receivers to Schrader's left. Schneider in the backfield. Screen pass. Incomplete. Low pass from Schrader intended for his receiver Klein. And it'll be a 3rd and long for the Norskis. Checking back into the game for the Norskis is Hackle.
And this is an interesting position here where you want to have some secondary players deep, but it always is good to bring the blitz because the offense might not expect that.
Get loud, says Travis Classy and Miles Steinhoff. And that the Vikings will do. Pistol formation, receiver set out to each side of Trader. Hackle in the backfield. And batted away by the senior Tyler Krubaugh. Great pass defense. 4th and 11. Receiver turned defensive back. Tyler Krubaugh getting those big hands on the ball. 5:01 left in this one. DeForest punt team on the field. Back to return. Caden Lee.
We'll see if it's not put into the end zone, if Caden Lee can make some magic happen.
Duffy on the punt. A fairly high spiraling kick, bounces and into the end zone. Vikings taking over, 2nd straight drive. Line, Coach Kleppe firing up his team in the huddle.
And for good reason here. Seniors have a chance to go off tonight on a good note with a home win. And why not bring it down the field and score?
Their last regular season home game for this senior class, featuring many talented players who have come up big in this game. Winston back into the game. That's good to see. Hopefully, obviously not going to be feeling 100%, but hopefully he can make the best of it. Read option, Hagelin on the keeper, slipped after getting across the line of scrimmage to the 22-yard line, 23-yard line, gain of 3.
Pick up about 3, brings up 2nd and 7.
And that was an interesting play there.
Maybe
obviously they're
in, and he'll be stood up for no gain, maybe a loss of 1. Didn't look to be showing that same burst of speed we usually see coming off the line of scrimmage. Hopefully.
And something I would like the Vikings to be careful of is, yes, this is an important game, but so are the playoffs, and you need to rest your hurt players. Like, if Winston's hurt, you want to give him a break because you don't want him injuring himself even
Knowing
more.
Winston, he definitely wants to be in this game. 3rd and 6, pass intended for Krubal. Ball is caught. He's got some field ahead of him. He's at the 50, crossed the 40, and tackled down in Norski territory at the 37-yard line.
The keys to the game, and the senior trying his hardest to bring this win home for the Vikings.
A gain of more than 30. Krubal, great job running his route. Great throw from Hagelin, and the Vikings back in business. 3:46, 28-28 is your score. Now in Norski territory. As I mentioned, DeForest plays with no deep safeties. That opened up the field for Krubal. Winston slipped on the handoff there and lost a yard or 2.
And you can see that Winston is not 100% right now, so it'll depend on whether the offensive coordinator will run any more plays to him. You're just as much as any of the other guys. But
2nd and 11, 3:05 left in this one. Hand off to Winston heading right. He's got a few blockers, cuts it back a little bit. Gain of 3, 3rd down and 9. Ball at the 36-yard line. Another key 3rd down situation. Travis Classy checking into the game at the receiver position. An athletic target, a guy that can go up and get it.
And we'll see if they do the play action pass.
Got him in the slot. That's where I'd say is the best play for him. Hagelin firing for Classy. Ball is caught. What an athletic play.
That was an Odell Beckham Jr. kind of thing.
2:21. Chains keep moving. Another hookup from Hagelin to his seniors receivers. Winston stays in the backfield. Knocking on the door of the red zone are the Vikings. 25-yard line. Hand off to Winston. Nothing doing there. Winston just doesn't seem to be 100%, as Will said. Maybe got back to the line, but just not that same burst of speed we usually see coming off the handoff.
Yeah, not the same burst of speed, yet he still keeps those legs turning like we know Malik Winston to do.
2nd and 10. Hagelin will get it from Young. Dropping back, looking for a screen pass to Winston. He's got blocked and tripped up at the 2-yard line. What a play call from offensive coordinator Chris Ballbach, dialing up the slip screen to Winston. Winston showing off his strength, and the Vikings have the ball a yard shy of the goal line. 1st and goal, 139.
What an amazing play call, like you said. Just nobody home in the middle of the secondary. Everybody playing deep end. Just an amazing call.
Winston alongside Hagelin. I'm guessing the ball wouldn't be going anywhere else but his hands. Hagelin using as much time off the clock as possible. Will give it off to Winston yet. And they'll call him just short. That forces the Norskis to use a timeout. So nothing really hurt there. Coach Kleppe fired up this Mount Horeb fan section.
And why not?
I think we'll keep it here. You know, this has been a game, Vikings' closest game this season by far, and it's been an entertaining one nonetheless.
And at the beginning of the game, this was something that the Vikings were not used to, being down 21-7 at a point, if you can believe it, and then just scoring over consecutive drives, just doing amazing job. And I would say my dad's favorite play ever in the history of football. Perfect play call right now. But I would assume you give it back to that workhorse, Malik Winston, and let him earn it.
And at tight end is both Scott Hall and Gassman, two big linebackers, can lead the way for Winston. Referee talking to Hagelin, not sure what that's about. As I mentioned, 107, your score 28-28. Vikings have the ball on the 1 yard line of the Norskis. Second down, and a big play coming up here. Handoff to Winston. Winston dives for the end zone. Touchdown! Mount Horeb Barneveld, 34. In this game, Winston's third rushing touchdown on the night. His 22nd on the season. And what a time to score for the Vikings.
What a great offensive drive there. Just muscling his way in there, Winston. Not 100%.
Key extra point attempt for Perdasati. Flag thrown.
Illegal shifts, maybe.
They're going to call illegal substitution on Mount Horeb Barneveld.
So
I think there might have been too many men on the field.
Making this a little bit more interesting.
A little bit further. Back him up to the 7 yard line now. I'd make that about a 24 yard extra point if my math is correct. Good snap, good hold. That's easily through. Perdasati's extra point is good. 1. And there's a flag on the play. Huh. Perdasati says, I can kick it from 40 yards. Might as well keep backing me up. Vikings coming off the field.
Hey!
It is on DeForest. I actually missed the call. I just saw the referee signal towards DeForest. Nonetheless,
This seems to be a face mask against the DeForest Norskis.
now will they tack it on to the kickoff? I believe they'll tack it on to the kickoff. Nonetheless, what an exciting ball game. 28-28 was your score. Vikings had the ball. Marched into DeForest territory, had the ball at the 25-yard line. Excellent play call from coordinator Ballbach. Got us through called up a screen pass to Winston. Showed off his athleticism, got it to the 1 yard line, and after two run plays, the 1 yard touchdown for the junior, adding to his total and bringing the Vikings lead to 7. And that's where we stand. 103 to the 40-yard line of DeForest. Perdasati could make it through the uprights, and the official counted wrong, so it'll actually be at the 45-yard 45-yard line of DeForest. Not my mistake.
You see, this is why they need to have me out there, a math wizard.
Perdisati, this is easy for him to kick a touchback. Last time there was a penalty on the kickoff, he was able to nail it through the extra points. The wind, however, is blowing in the opposite direction he'd like it to be, blowing from our right to our left. He's kicking from our left to our right. 103, crew drive will be returned. A little bit of a stumble on the return. That's number 4, Klein, who will take it across the 30 to 35. Perdisati just missed that one a little bit. That's not something we expect from him, especially with the added 15 yards.
Absolutely, it's not something we expect from him at all.
55 seconds. 1st and 10. Norski's taking over on their own 35-yard line.
And you'd have to assume that's some sort of urgency here from DeForest.
They did use one of their timeouts on the last drive in order to stop the Vikings from using the clocks. I believe the referee signaled that the Norskis use that timeout. Nonetheless, a name that comes to my mind, Travis Classy. He's the deep safety standing at midfield. Handoff. Interesting decision there.
Very interesting.
No gain.
I don't understand that play call.
Timeout Norskis. We'll take a timeout as well. Nonetheless, losing about 5 yards, actually, they'll call it, was Hackle on the pitch. And they'll take and it'll be 2nd and 15 at their own 30-yard line. We'll step aside. 35-28 is your score. 50 seconds remaining here in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin. Schrader alone in the gun for the first time tonight. 3 receivers set out to his left. Stepping up in the gun, pass tipped and tackled immediately by Caden Lee. Short pass out. Scoreboard incorrectly has the Norskis with 2 timeouts left. I believe, and everyone up here agrees that they don't have any left after that last one. But hopefully things will get cleared up. 41 seconds. As I mentioned, your score, Mount Horeb Barneveld 35, DeForest Norskis 28. Norskis are in a tough situation, 3rd and 20, ball on their own 25-yard line. They're hoping for a miracle here.
Vikings just need to stay home.
Yeah, everyone stay in their lanes, stay in their zones, and let the play into this student section on their feet. 3 receivers to Schrader's left, dropping back. Heavy pass rush from Gassman. Slant pass to Duffy, tackled by Kruba, a yard short of the first down.
They have no choice. They can't spike it. Clock keeps running.
25 seconds. 23 seconds, and the officials stop the clock. 22 seconds. 20, 19, 18. 16-15. Going a little bit faster. Schrader still getting the play call. He's only got 12 seconds. Heavy pass rush. Williams slips. Zerwanka and flag flies in. I think that will be on DeForest for a late hit. Unnecessary hit. Schrader already had the first down. Another flag flies in.
Oh, no.
It would have been a first down. 7 seconds in this one. Vikings up 7. Norski's got it to about the 44-yard line. Their own 44-yard line, excuse me. Officials conferring. We'll see what the call is. Our guess is a flag on DeForest. Hunter unnecessarily laid out. Thank you, senior chant, here on senior night. It would take a miracle from DeForest to win this one. Officials still discussing, not sure what there's really to talk about. Will penalty on DeForest, I think maybe they're deciding whether or not he had the
It's interesting.
first down yet.
It's interesting, but I don't know if the rule is in high school if there's a 10-second runoff. I don't believe so.
I believe he might have got out of bounds too. Was Schrader out of bounds? I believe he was out of bounds, so that would have stopped the clock. We'll see. Officials signaling to us. Personal foul. Norski's.
So they'll back up the football with 7 seconds.
Yep, we still got 7 seconds. Important that DeForest is out of timeouts. Schrader picked up the first down before the late hit, I believe. Unless that happened. It'll be first down. Nonetheless, 7 seconds, unless you're able to get a quick out route and get out of bounds. There's more than likely not time for more than one play. Back deep for the Vikings. Their star safeties, Classy, Fry. And ball is incomplete. And this one's over. The Vikings coming up big at the end of this game and take the official second place spot in the Badger North with a 35-28 defeat over the conference rival, the DeForest Norskies. An all-around great game and a fun one to call, to say the least. We'll come back and recap this action-packed game after we hear from our wonderful sponsors. You've been listening to Wisco Radio. Kate Johnson, Will Harris, 28.